Sorry about that, everybody. I apologize. I don't know what the issues were, but I think I got them straightened out now. So I apologize for that. That's my bad. Nothing is going right today, basically, for me, for the 49ers. It's terrible. It is terrible, horrible, putrid. I apologize again for the stream issues. I don't know what it was. I think it was a StreamYard issue, but whatever it is, we are back now. Thankfully, luckily, because there's a lot to discuss in this one. And unfortunately, none of it's really good for the 49ers. It was just all bad today. It was all bad. The offense was bad. The defense was bad. Nothing went right. The special teams were bad. Again, the special teams were bad. Maybe it wasn't all Richard Hightower's fault. I don't know. But holy crap, it was terrible. Just absolutely brutal. As I try to get Levin back in here. And again, we saw it again. 3rd and long. Guess what happens? 49ers defense against Patrick Mahomes. Can't get on the field. Or can't get off the field. Excuse me. Cannot get off the field. And it just goes to show, man, when you've got a good offense with a good play caller and a good quarterback, it looks easy. And that's what it looked for the Chiefs today. It looked easy. And it was pathetic. What a pathetic showing by the 49ers. And I'll tell you one thing. I am sick and tired of getting embarrassed. Not just losing, getting embarrassed. This was an embarrassing effort. Embarrassing by the offensive line. Embarrassing by Kyle Shanahan. Embarrassing by Jimmy Garoppolo, who took another safety again. Embarrassing by the defense that couldn't stop a nosebleed. Couldn't stop a nosebleed today. Embarrassing. Here's how the Chiefs' drives went. Interception, touchdown, touchdown, missed field goal, touchdown, 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 punt, end of game. It doesn't get much worse than that. It doesn't get much worse. It actually could have been worse because the field goal that they missed at the end of the second half, they actually did score a touchdown that got called back on a shaky illegal block penalty on Nick Bosa. So the Chiefs could have had a touchdown there. And of course, they missed the field goal, so they didn't get any points out of that drive. It was embarrassing, Levin. The Niners' performance was embarrassing as our performance trying to get the stream up and working.
That's what I said. Our live went about as well as that defense did.
I mean, what the hell, man? I'm tired of being embarrassed. I am tired of being embarrassed. And this was embarrassing. And oh, by the way, you know what else was bad? The penalties. I think the 49ers had 9 penalties today. It was like they completely reverted to how they were playing. Oh, 10, excuse me. 10 penalties for 80 yards. Nothing. There was not a single good thing about today except for Christian McCaffrey, who looked as good as advertised.
Yeah, there's a lot of really bad things to take from this. Jimmy Garoppolo had the triple crown, I saw. He's safety, fumble, and interception.
That's just call that a Jimmy Garoppolo. They should call it a Jimmy Garoppolo. It's really what it is.
The defense, obviously horrendous. Mahomes, I saw a stat. He was 9 of 9 for passes that went at least 13 yards in the air. 9 of 9. That's not good. The defense has lost its mojo. The pressure wasn't there except for 1 or 2 plays. And then offensively, Mike McGlinchey, go find a free agent and put him in because it can't be worse than what he was today. There's no sugarcoating it. Call it what it is. And McGlinchey was a stale fart tonight.
And I don't want to hear that he was hurt. He was out there. Okay. He was out there. And if you're out there, you deserve to be judged for how you perform.
Look at all the things. He had the penalties, obviously, but he got beat for multiple sacks. He was beat on the strip sack fumble loss. It doesn't get worse than what he had today. It's like, unless he goes against a bad pass rusher, and then he can maul them. If he goes against any kind of skilled pass rusher, he gets absolutely destroyed. On one of those plays, I don't remember if it ended up being a sack or just a big hit on Jimmy, but he literally never moved his feet and just leaned like this when trying to block Chris Jones, and Chris Jones just smacked his hands away and had a free run to the quarterback. What is that? That's like, high school level footwork. Like, what is going on? It's just so frustrating. I'm so sick of it because I think the most frustrating part for me is it's the same crap for like
Every
3
time.
years now. Same crap for 3 years. Same problems with this team have been the same for 3 years, and they don't do anything. Jimmy, absolutely horrendous if your team is down. If the team is down, he falls apart. The moment there's pressure on him and he knows he has to pass to win the game, he falls apart. McGlinchey, terrible against anybody that's skilled going across from him.
Anybody.
It's just, it's frustrating because it's the same things.
And, I talked to Steven Serta of Arrowhead Pride for the Crossover podcast. And I asked him, like, where can the 49ers attack on defense? And he said, the Chiefs tackles stink and Frank Clark stinks. Like,
yeah, I heard that. He said he was washed up.
Yeah. And guess what? He kicked Mike McGlinchey's ass today. He kicked Mike McGlinchey's ass, put him on skates. And again, I don't care that he was hurt. He was good enough to be out there. And man, this was just so pathetic by the 49ers. I mean, it's comical. It's comically bad. The third down defense is comically. It comes to a point now where every time it's third and long, I write down on my notes, third and long, because I know the 49ers are about to give it up. I know they're about to give it up. And they did it twice today. And what is it with former 49ers coming back and twisting the knife? First, it was Dante Pettis in week 1. Now it's Jet McKinnon. Who are we going to see next in there? Is Emmanuel Sanders going to come out of retirement and kick our ass?
I mean, the McKinnon one's even worse because didn't he tweet when asked if he was coming back to the 49ers before he went to the Chiefs? F no.
Yeah, something like that.
Like, just total, like, yeah, it's our fault you were constantly injured.
I'm just,
yeah.
How is it? What's the excuse this week? Ward was back. Bosa was back. Hufanga was back. What's the excuse for the defense this week? I want to know because they literally gave up a touchdown almost every single time.
Mooney Ward, I don't think he's anywhere near healthy. He should not have been in there. He got toasted multiple times. That's not the Mooney Ward we've seen the rest of the year. So I think he was injured and trying to play through it, and they should have pulled the plug on it because he couldn't hold up. But then again, that means Amber Thomas is in, and is he going to do any better? Probably not. But, I tweeted it out at one point, and it continued throughout the whole game. I think defensively, the amount of times Mahomes threw a 50-50 jump ball.
Yep.
And the defense not once stopped it from being completed. They were like 8 or 9 of those. They were literally jump balls. They weren't speed balls where the wide receiver, was getting in stride. They were literally, they're both standing there and they're both going to jump to try to get it. The receiver had time to turn around to jump. You know what I mean? And every single time the Chiefs caught it. And that, as much as anything, was the difference in this game because multiple drives would have ended if they just won a single 50-50 ball.
And I'm going to say it again. And I don't know how many times I have to repeat it. Hold on. I want to get to the super chat. Thank you very much. DWare5883. Even my wife was saying field goals won't beat them. She gets it. Kyle doesn't. You are what your record says you are. And that's exactly where I was going. Exactly where I was going. Because here we are with the 49ers. First drive of the game. They go all the way down the field. 4th and 3 at the Kansas City 12-yard line. And what does Kyle Shanahan do? Carts out Robbie Gould to kick a field goal. Great job, Kyle. Great job. They get the ball back after the Chiefs score a touchdown. They go all the way down the field. Now, I will say this was 4th and 15, so I kind of understand the field goal. Jimmy took a bad sack on 3rd down that kind of pushed him back. I at least can understand that one. I can at least understand it. Here we go again. 3rd quarter. 49ers get the ball back after a Chiefs touchdown and make it 21-13. Niners get the ball back. Kyle Juszczyk makes a great play on 3rd down, breaks the tackle, keeps the drive going. They get all the way down there again. 4th and 7 from the Chiefs 31-yard line. What does Kyle Shanahan do? Carts Robbie Gould out there to kick a field goal. Now, I know the defense was trash today. I get that. But the offense had a chance to make this tough, and Kyle Shanahan again keeps bringing Robbie Gould out there. He doesn't learn from his mistakes, Levin. He keeps making it harder for the 49ers to win games.
I know at one point, I can't remember if they ended up getting another chance in field goal range, but It was towards the beginning of the fourth quarter. They had 5 possessions after that touchdown where they got into field goal range, and in those 5 possessions, they had 9 points.
It's a
That's the
joke.
difference. The Chiefs finished their drives. The 49ers didn't. I will say you could see the potential with McCaffrey.
Yeah, he looked good.
The offense showed a lot of potential. Like, I mean, Garoppolo did have a 300-yard game, even though there's going to be people out there. The
Who
stands are going to be like, he
cares?
had a good game. He had 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, 99 rating. Yeah, he also lost a fumble, got a safety. By the way, that safety is as bad as the running out of the end zone. You're
Yeah,
in
it
the
is.
end zone. What are you doing? You're outside of the pocket.
He had
Throw it
no
away.
idea.
And like, it's
No
not just
idea.
that it's not just that he had no clock. It's that he did this. Oh, you can't pump fake in the end zone. You're in the end zone. You're outside of the pocket. It was a rollout. Throw the damn ball away. There's no such thing as pulling it back down when you're in the end zone.
He was double clutching everything all day long. By the way, nice jacket. I see you're wearing the Homage jacket, the starter jacket that just came out. You look
I'm
good.
burning up waiting on you to get your computer fixed.
I know. Very nice.
Actually,
by
a
you.
much warmer jacket than you would think because it actually has like insulation on the inside. Like it's not just this; it's got insulation on the inside. So yeah, very warm, and I am sweating underneath this.
You are the only thing about the 49ers that looks good today. And you know I don't say that easily. So everything was bad. Every single thing was bad. The game management by Kyle Shanahan, he continues to do. It just makes me think, Levin, this team is only built to beat other teams one way. And if the game does not go according to their script, they can't win it. They are built to get a lead by a double-digit lead, usually a 2-possession lead, usually by running the football on a slow, deliberate drive down the field, and then the defense is built to attack you when you have to pass. That is it. That is the only way this team can win a game, and when it doesn't go that way, they can't beat anybody.
I mean, let's just boil it down. This team is built to have a defense that stops the other team and an offense that does just enough. And that's the part that was
by
so
design.
tantalizing early in this game. The offense was unstoppable except for when they stopped themselves. So you can see the potential that maybe the offense really can get going, but then the defense now is falling apart. So you can't sit here and say, oh, the offense had potential. I can see the light. This team's going to turn it around because you don't know what the defense's problem is right now. That's the big question I think coming out of this game. What is the defense's problem? Because like you said, most of the guys were back. So it's kind of one of these things like there's no excuse and there's nothing you can pinpoint. So you're left with a dominant defense playing like crap and you don't have an explanation. So it's hard to sit here and say, well, they'll turn it around because you don't know what they need to turn around.
You know, it's so funny, right? They make the trade for McCaffrey and it's an all-in trade. It is an all-in trade, no doubt about it. You gave up 4 draft picks to get Christian McCaffrey and you look just hideous, just like complete ass, basically. And you look so far away from a Super Bowl right now. So, like the Chiefs are a Super Bowl team. The Niners look like they can't even watch the Super Bowl on TV. That's how bad they are.
I just had this thought that, you know what the Niners look like, and this might get some people upset. They look like a Super Bowl talented team that's not coached well.
They're not coached
You
well.
see the talent every game. You see the potential every game, yet it never comes together. And when it's not coming together consistently over and over, despite seeing the possibilities and the potential on this drive or this play here, once that becomes a consistency, it falls back on coaching. The guys are good enough to win, but they're consistently not executing, but they're guys who have executed in the past. So that has to come to a game prep, a mental issue where they're not in the right place. And that falls on coaching for better, whether you agree or not. I think mental prep, whether you're ready to play, falls on falls on the coach.
How could they be embarrassed like this? Embarrassed, completely humiliated with the 2012 team sitting there. Jim Harbaugh had to watch that. Look, you could say what you want, but there are very few games in the Jim Harbaugh era that ended like that. There were some bad Seahawks losses, I agree, but this was utter humiliation. This was embarrassment. They didn't
By the way,
even
Seahawks are in first.
Yeah. without Russell Wilson. I know DK Metcalf went down today, but and here we are again, Levin, sitting here 3-4. Like, why is it that the 49ers can't get out of the gate and win in Kyle Shanahan's era? In every year except 2019, this team stinks for at least the first half of the year. What the hell?
I wish I knew. If I knew, I would be saying, hire me, pay me $100,000 a year. I'll come work for you and teach you how not to suck for half a season.
Maynard watching on the YouTube page just goes to show you what elite coaching and an elite quarterback will get you. A quarterback, I'm going to point out one more time that Kyle Shanahan did not scout, not scouted and decided not to draft, did not scout because he thought he was going to get Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, because he thought he was going to get somebody that's not here and never will be.
And he may be, but that's not even close to Patrick Mahomes. He didn't even scout him. That goes on Kyle's coaching tombstone forever.
Yeah, that's the Shanahan arrogance there. I don't need to. I already got what I need, even though I don't have what I need, and nothing's guaranteed.
But I better go pay for a running back. I mean, the Chiefs were 6 of 9 on third down. 6 of 9. And that includes some BS crap at the end of the game where they weren't even really trying anymore. Every third down Kansas City needed, they got. Every single one. The 49ers ran 72 plays. The Chiefs ran 58. Yet Kansas City racked up 529 yards, and they gained 9 yards per play. That's a first down every play, pretty much.
Yeah, it's more than double what the team had given up coming into the game. I posted out those stats that they came in allowing 4.9 yards per pass. They allowed 11.8 today. They came in allowing 4.2 yards per play of any type, and they allowed 9. Both of those are more than double what they were coming into the game. Like, just horrible. I also looked up. I got curious after that last long touchdown. I knew Mahomes went over 400 yards. He fell 30 yards shy of the most yards ever given up by this franchise in the passing game. It's the 9th worst or 9th most passing yards allowed in a game. And, oh, by the way, every single one of those above it had more pass attempts. He did it on 34 passes. 34.
I mean, Kyle Shanahan after the game, keep holding people accountable, keep trying to focus and get better. When have you ever held anybody accountable, Kyle? When have you ever held yourself accountable? And by the way, Philip watching on the Facebook page, this stats guy is a blowhard bum. Brutal listening to him after that loss. Philip, what am I supposed to say right now? Like, please comment again, Philip. I swear to God, whatever you say, I'll put up on the screen. Wow. What else am I supposed to say after this team gives up the most passing yards they've ever given up in the Kyle Shanahan era? They get drubbed 44-23 at home in front of the 2012 team with everything going on, a chance to, continue to stay in first place in the division with a game against the Rams next week that maybe have a shot to win. They get embarrassed today. What am I supposed to say? Like, what do you want me to come on and say? Christian McCaffrey looked good. The offense had like 2 good drives. Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Hey, by the way, the Panthers won this week.
It's brutal, man. Brutal.
I did see one interesting stat that is a very big thing, I think, that is something that should be talked about. I hadn't realized it until I saw it. I apologize. I didn't get the name of who tweeted it because it was like right as the game was ending and you were having computer issues. So I was kind of doing a bunch of different things. But, this whole go stay on the East Coast for 2 weeks and how they have this great record when they do that.
They're awful when they come back.
They're 1-4 when they get back. So is it worth it? Because you're gone from home for 2 weeks. So when you get back, are you able to focus in, or are you so starved of family time that there's a little lack of focus when you get back? And I think that's a legitimate question.
You're going to pay for the time zone change at some point, because changing time zones will always mess with human beings. That's just how we are. You either pay for it on the way back or you pay for it on the way there. And yeah, the Niners are not good. Brian on the Facebook page, let's face it, defense can't win every game for us. Offense has to play, score, control the clock. Jimmy has to stop making some dumb decisions. And let's get into it, Levin, because there was a point in this game before it got away from the 49ers. End of the first half, the Niners are driving down the field, putting together a nice long drive, and 3rd and 14, Garoppolo passes incomplete. They go to kick the field goal, and the Chiefs totally bait the 49ers into false starting, which then pushes them out of field goal range. Again, outcoached. Again, maybe it's not all Richard Hightower's fault. Mitch Wishnowsky punts it, and the Chiefs muff the punt and give the 49ers an absolute gift.
Yeah.
It's 14-13 Chiefs. The Niners get the ball on the Chiefs' 12-yard line. 12-yard line. Kyle immediately goes to Christian McCaffrey because he wants somebody to bail him out. Jimmy Garoppolo short to Debo. And what happens next? Garoppolo on 3rd and 3. Chiefs blitz. And I swear to God, every time the other team blitzes, Jimmy Garoppolo poops down his leg. Every time. And Jimmy gets pressure and he just chucks it up in the air. A floater in the red zone that gets intercepted.
It's like a Madden play. Like, I hate to go to video games, but if you've ever played video games, what do you do as the quarterback? You hike the ball and you immediately start backpedaling because it's a video game. You can get away with it. That's what he did. He literally received the ball and was backpedaling already and then threw off his back foot. What's the one thing you don't do as a quarterback if you can absolutely help it? Don't throw off your back foot. When is it worse to throw off your back foot? I would argue in the red zone when you need some heat on the ball because it's such a congested area. It's just inexcusable. It's rookie, like bad late round rookie level mistakes. The safety. Even rookies know I can't pull this down when I'm in the end zone. I've had the ball for 4 seconds. I have to get rid of it. I'm out of the pocket. I'm going to get rid of it. That's the part that just drives me nuts. He makes really, really bad plays that even if a rookie made it, you'd be like, wow, that's bad even for a rookie. And he's still making them.
Terrible. It's consistent with him. He consistently does the worst thing, right? 3rd and 7 we were talking about before. He takes a sack. It becomes 4th and 15. 49ers have to kick a long field goal. They don't even have the chance to go for it on 4th down. They get the gift, a present from the Chiefs at the 12-yard line. He throws a stupid interception. And by the way,
at that point, like, just get the lead. Yeah, touchdown absolutely would be better. But absolute worst, you walk away with the lead. Like,
terrible, man.
It's
every week.
It's hard to keep talking about it because it's the same thing. Like, you've already spent your words on this because it's the same thing. You've already said 3 or 4 different ways. That's what we got to do while we're sitting here talking about it. Talk about something and rephrase it if it's the same thing. Say it in a different way the next time. Well, it's happened so many times, I'm running out of ways to say it.
And people were excusing Jimmy Garoppolo's interception at the end of the first half last week too. And people that Niners content people were doing it too. And I'm tired of it, man. Kill the context. People that 49ers content people love to sit there and say, oh, there's context. There's context. I know Kyle Shanahan's record is under 500, but there's context. Sure, Jimmy Garoppolo turned the ball over, but what did you want him to do? They didn't have much time left. No, man. No. Kill the context, okay? And look, I get it, man. I understand that sometimes there's a story beyond what appears on the page, but results also matter. Results matter. And the results for the 49ers under this regime way too often have been bad. And I'm tired of hearing about the context. I really am.
Here's the problem. You get a large enough sample, context no longer matters because, this time they might have had this going on or this going on. It all comes together if you get a large enough sample. Jimmy's been here. This is his 6th year on the team. Kyle, 6th year of the regime. It's been long enough. Like, there's no longer excuses of, well, there's context. This was going on this time or that. Do you think nothing happens to other teams?
Right.
Stuff happens to other teams and they get through it. And when you have a large enough sample size, those things no longer matter because a single game having an issue doesn't outweigh all the other games. We're year 6. There's no longer context allowed.
It's
agree. Year 6. You should be a well-oiled machine by year 6.
Put up or shut up, okay? Shit or get off the pot. And I apologize for swearing, but I'm pissed off. Jason PDSI, shared pain is pain lessened. I'm still pissed at you, but at least I'm not alone. Thanks for the therapy. I appreciate that. And this is a good comment too from Edgar watching on my Twitch page. Shout out to the people on Twitch at Stats on Fire. Please follow me on Twitch. I could use the followers. Even the touchdown pass to Ray McLeod was badly thrown. He did the same thing on that touchdown pass to Ray that he did on the interception. He just chucked it up because he was under pressure and Ray had to make a really nice adjustment to make the catch. And he did, credit to Ray. But it was the same thing. Jimmy just chucked it up. And by the way, Jeremy watching on Facebook makes a good point too. On the interception, there was, I think it was Wilson, was wide open out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Wide, but there was a blitz. So Jimmy shit his pants.
You know, I don't have too much time left, but I want to say one other topic here, complain about one other thing. Stop kicking to the other team.
Right.
Just stop it. There is no reason to have a kickoff return against you. Your coverage unit is the worst in the league.
Yep.
It's horrendous.
Yep.
They
Good call.
always get past the 25, and a lot of times they're getting out to the 40 or beyond. Stop kicking it to the other team. Don't give them a chance to return it. And if you don't have somebody that can kick it out of the end zone or far enough into the end zone consistently, go sign a guy because it's worth it, because a couple returns a game is worth that roster spot.
I agree. And look, that it was 14-13 Kansas City at halftime. Chiefs get the ball first. And what happens? Boom, 48-yard return. And then Jawan Jennings stupidly hits the returner after he goes out of bounds, gives him another 15 yards. 3 plays later, the Chiefs are in the end zone.
So, and you can say Jennings didn't hit him hard. He shouldn't be hitting him at all. The guy's been out of bounds for like 4 solid seconds. Like, don't put hands on him at all. There's no reason to put hands on him. Could have easily avoided him. He put hands on him just because he wanted to get hands on him, and that's why he got a penalty.
Mike Brown on the YouTube page. 49ers, great roster, bad coaching, bad team. At some point, like, we keep hearing how all talented all these players are. Then how do they keep losing so goddamn often? That's what I want to know.
Because the guys who aren't talented screw it up. Guys like McGlinchey. How many drives did McGlinchey torpedo with his holding calls, his sacks, allowing the fumble? Literally 4 or 5 drives this game were ruined by McGlinchey alone. And that's the problem, is that the guys who aren't great, they're not just mediocre. They make horrendous mistakes that destroy the drive, whether defensively or offensively. And that's the problem. It's not just, oh, he didn't block that run very well, so it ended up a 3-yard gain instead of a 10-yard gain.
Yep.
No, it's that he literally didn't block anybody in the pass game, so your quarterback got teed off on.
It's bad. And Bender on the Twitch page points out one drive started at like the 5 or the 10-yard line because Ray McCloud took the ball out of the end zone.
Yeah.
No part of the team was good today. And it's so frustrating because we think that they should be better than this. And there are times when they look friggin' unbeatable. And yet there are way more times, I think you would agree, Levin, that they look like they did today.
Yeah. And we're going to see next week what they can do with McCaffrey. I think towards the second half, I think the defense adjusted, the Chiefs defense adjusted that if McCaffrey's in, it's a run. Because I think it's harder to get him involved in the pass game. Because even when he did run a route, he was never looked at by Jimmy, because I think it was just running a route to have him run a route every so often. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't actually part of the reads, because there were times that he was open for a check down and Jimmy didn't check it down to him when he easily could have. And instead he tried to go long or he held the ball. So I think the Chiefs realized that at halftime, that McCaffrey wasn't able to get involved in the pass game. So don't worry about him in the pass game. If he's in, crash down. And that's why he didn't do very well running the ball in the second half.
Ron on the Facebook page points this out, and I can let you go after this, Levin, because this is the perfect microcosm for the day. Nick Bosa lining up offsides in the neutral zone on consecutive plays. Like, they couldn't even do that. And this is Nick Bosa, and we couldn't do that, right? Like, dude, look where the ball is. Move your hand backwards a little. Once, okay. Consecutive plays? I was screaming at the TV before the second snap. He's offsides again.
Yeah, it's just total team failure. I mean, offensive line, bad game. Jimmy, bad game. The only spot you maybe say didn't have a bad game were the skill players. I don't think the wide receivers had any huge mistakes.
Tebow had another drop.
I guess he did have a drop. But, I mean, the worst thing the wide receivers did was Jennings on a kickoff return unit. And the running game worked. They just couldn't pound it like they wanted because they got down. But they were extremely efficient in the run game. But defensively, all 3 levels are bad. Warner was getting beat by Kelsey. Like, beat, not just, oh, he's a step slow. No, there were times when Kelsey was like good 5 yards away from Warner, and Warner was trying to match up with him. Obviously, the defensive line, terrible game. Secondary, terrible game. Like kick off special teams, terrible. Like there's nothing to take from this game. Like, what lessons do you learn from this game? I can't think of one because it's just flat out you played like crap. It's not a lesson of, oh, we can do this differently. No, the lesson is it's kind of similar to week 1. Don't make stupid ass errors.
And yet,
It was all mental mistakes.
every week we see stupid ass errors. Levin, thank you very much. You can follow Levin on Twitter at LT Black Niners, and you should. He's very cranky on Twitter. If you think he's cranky here, he's even crankier on Twitter. But Levin, thank you very much for hopping in here.
Yeah, and again, this jacket. Love the
Homage.
stripes. Love these stripes. And actually, let me show you real quick. I got a work shirt underneath, so excuse
Thank
that.
God you do. Thank God.
But I love this patch. Like,
nice.
I know it's something simple. I'm truly, when I saw this patch, I don't know, I love things like that. So I wanted to point that out. That was like a nice little touch for me.
Well, there you go. Thank you, Levin. I'll talk to you next week. Well, later this week, actually.
Lucky you.
Yeah, right. And by the way, if you like that jacket or other Homage stuff, there's a link right in the show notes on YouTube here in the description. There'll be a link in the podcast show notes as well. You just click it. It'll take you right there. So I don't know what to think now. I don't know what to do with this. I tweeted out that this was so bad it should actually count for more than one loss. It doesn't, of course. The Niners are only 3-4. And the problem is the NFC East really is the problem because the rest of the NFC is kind of starting to run away a little bit from the 49ers. You didn't think the NFC East was going to be this good. The Eagles are 6-0. The Giants are 6-1. The Cowboys are 5-2. Seattle is now 4-3. So if you don't win the NFC West, you might not make the playoffs. That's the scary thing if you're the 49ers. Chris Maldonado, Levin is the GOAT. No, he's not. Dono watching on the YouTube page. The defense focuses too much on getting a few big plays a game just to give the ball back to Jimmy. Start getting gassed and let up the worst plays possible. Unacceptable. Look, the Niners out snapped the Chiefs in this game by a ton. I think it was like 72-58, something like that. Chiefs defense didn't look tired, did they? No, they did not. Yeah, it was 72-58. Niners outsnapped the Chiefs. Chiefs defense didn't look tired. I mean, bad. Eddie watching on the Facebook page. Jimmy Ward, Mooney Ward, Trent Williams, Talanoa Hufanga, and Mike McGlinchey weren't healthy enough, in my opinion. Shouldn't have been on the field. Maybe, but they were. So whether they lied and said they were better than they were, or the 49ers coaching staff is incompetent, maybe some combination of both, but they were there. And that's how it looked. And I'm really tired of this cycle too, where the 49ers look bad, and then they play the Rams and they beat the Rams, and we're like, hey, the 49ers are good. Yeah, no. Maybe they just have the Rams number. Maybe they could just beat one team. Did we ever think of that? Like maybe it's just for whatever reason, we can beat the Rams because we can lose to anybody, man. Look at the losses that the 49ers have had this year. I mean, granted, the Chiefs are a good team, so they don't really fall into this category, but Bears, horrible team, lost to the Bears. Broncos, horrible offense, lost to the Broncos, 11-10. Falcons, who got absolutely worked today by Cincinnati, lost to the Falcons. And now they lose to the Chiefs. Who the 49ers beaten this year? The Seahawks, the Rams, the Panthers. If I'm another team looking at the 49ers, I'm like, these guys are frauds. They're frauds. They haven't beaten anybody good. The 49ers have not beaten a single good team this year. And that is the truth. And I don't know if they're gonna. Rams next week, then the bye. Then they got the Chargers, the Cardinals, the Saints, the Dolphins. Like, when are they going to get to a good team? They don't really play a good team the rest of the way, which is kind of weird. I think maybe we're just wrong about the 49ers. Maybe they're just not that good. Maybe they're just not that good. I hate to say it. I really do. Because look, this is my business and I love the 49ers. I love them. I'm a diehard fan. I will always be a diehard fan. But how come when they play somebody good, they get their doors blown off? I mean, people are sitting there saying the offense was okay. They only scored 23 points. Like, this was an okay performance by the offense? No, the Chiefs was an offensive performance. Throwing the ball deep down the field. Guys covered, throw a back shoulder throw, gashing the team up the middle with runs. It was easy. It was easy for the Chiefs today against the 49ers. That's what offense is supposed to look like when you have great players and a great play caller. It's supposed to look like that. It's not supposed to look like it did for the 49ers today when they could struggle. They scored 23 points and they had 2 turnovers that put them in great shape to score. Other than that, they wouldn't have done anything. They wouldn't have done anything. I'm trying to keep an eye on the post-game comments. I haven't seen too many actual quotes thrown out there. So if anybody has seen anything, please throw it in the chat and I can respond to it. Because we ended up getting going a little later today, thanks to all my technical issues. Yeah. Here we go. See, now the worm is starting to turn. I see this quote from Brandon Ayuk. I just feel like we have too many players that can change the game to only score 23 points. He's either talking about Kyle or he's talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. Those are the only 2 options. But Brandon Ayuk, it's the worm is starting to turn now. And now we're starting to see a little public backlash from inside the locker room. And look, that's what happens. That is what happens when you are this bad for this long. People start to publicly speak out. And I think Brandon Ayuk just did. The one thing you were able to say about Kyle Shanahan is that the locker room didn't break, right? There were no cracks in the locker room. Everybody was pulling in the same direction, even when they were losing, even when he started 0-9. Everybody was in together. It's not 2017 anymore. This is year 6 now with Kyle Shanahan, and we're still having problems. And this quote from Brandon Ayuk, to me, that's very, very telling. That's the first kind of public criticism of either Kyle or Jimmy or both. That's a big deal. And how many guys feel the same way? And how long have they felt that way? I mean, hell, the 49ers practically admitted it. They just traded 4 picks for Christian McCaffrey. That's a clear admission that the offense needed help. And Mr. J, watching on the YouTube page, watch Rob switch his mind if the 49ers go on a 5-game winning streak and he will say they are good. I'd love to have that problem, Mr. J. The way they played today, they're not beating anybody. They're not beating anybody. Do you think they're going to go on a 5-game win streak? How? When the defense allows touchdown after touchdown after touchdown and the offense continually turns the ball over? Continually turns the ball over. You think they're going to go on a 5-game win streak? Why? Because they did it last year? What does that have to do with this year? It's a totally different year now. Completely different year. You can't just start every year under 500 and just assume they're going to go on some awesome run at the end of the season. They were lucky as hell to get into the playoffs last year. Lucky as hell. They had to go 7-2 in their last 9 games, and they were down 17 points on the road in the final week of the season. And they squeaked in to get to the playoffs. So let's not act like this team was a juggernaut because they had one good year in 2019, okay? Let's stop. Let's stop, man. I'm seeing a lot of Jimmy arguments. It's a little different this year with Jimmy because they don't have any other option. Like, they recognize that they had to move on, but man. And this is a good point from Jeff Walliser Jr. on the YouTube page. Last week, it was Kittle calling the team out. Remember? Kittle said, I don't think that they're giving enough effort. I don't think we gave 100% effort at every position. And now Brandon Ayuk. That's a really good point, Jeff. Thank you. I'm going to have to write about that for Niners Nation. Is Shanahan starting to lose the locker room? Maybe. And that's a big problem for the 49ers. That is a big, big problem. Thank you, Isha, for the 99 cents. Appreciate that. When you start to lose the locker room, now you got real problems. And I don't blame the locker room at this point. Like, they should be frustrated. They look around, they see all these good players. They should be better. And they're not. And why not? At some point, you have to point to coaching. Unless you're going to say the players are just not good. Talanoa Hufanga after the game. Hopefully we see them again. Like, you want to see them again? They just ate your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Huff. Shut up, man. Shut up. No. Hopefully we see them again. Yeah, they're saying the exact same thing, dude. Hopefully we see them again. They would love that. Like, shut up, man. I don't want to hear that garbage. I don't want to hear that garbage. Just when you thought there was a little bit of like excitement with the team, right? They trade for CMC. I was pumped up. I wouldn't have made the trade, but he's here and I was excited about it. And then they just totally just like just deflate. All the air is out of the balloon now. Corey watching on the YouTube page. Thanks for the super chat. I heard you say once that you thought Jimmy would be back next year. Doubtful. I don't know. I wouldn't be stunned if he was. How could you be stunned at this point if he was? I mean, look, you can put it on Jimmy, and there was a lot on Jimmy that he could have done better today, but it was everybody today. It was Jimmy plus. A lot of times I come on and say, hey, if Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't here, they might have won this game. It was Jimmy plus today. Jimmy plus receivers dropping balls. Jimmy plus the offensive line not protecting. Jimmy plus the defense literally not stopping the Kansas City Chiefs practically all day. Niners Warriors watching on YouTube. I don't know if you're a real person or a bot, but this is a good comment. Rob, let's see how the Lock Sports Media handles Kyle this week. What this guy gets is a free pass. Yeah, he does get a free pass. It is baffling. And he shouldn't. And I was tweeting at all the beat writers, please ask Kyle Shanahan specifically why he didn't try to get touchdowns, why he kicked field goals. Don't ask him how close he was to going for it. Ask him why he didn't go for it. Because if you ask him how close he was to going for it, he just says not close and runs away and dodges the question. You have to be specific with him. You have to. It's everything, man. It's everything with this team. It's bad execution. It's bad play calling. Kevin watching on the YouTube page. Patrick Mahomes is still the 49ers' daddy. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. EJ Pockets. Rob, you're wrong about 99% of what you have said. The other few percent, you're lucky, honestly. What are you talking about, EJ? What are you talking about? As soon as Jimmy Garoppolo announced that he was going to have surgery, I said he delayed the surgery because he wanted to block a trade. That was 100% right, and it was reported by Matt Barrows. I was right about that. I was right about the 49ers having Trey Lance, doubts about Trey Lance, which I said immediately after they brought Jimmy Garoppolo back. Then Mike Silver reported the 49ers have doubts about Trey Lance. I'm wrong about some stuff. Absolutely. Absolutely, I am, EJ. I was wrong about Talanoa Hufanga. He's way better than I thought he would be. I was dead wrong about that. But I've been right way more than I've been wrong. And just because it's about bad stuff and you don't want to admit it doesn't change that. So I don't want to hear about that. I was right about Jimmy Garoppolo being absolute garbage, and he is. When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. But when I'm right, I'm going to tell you I'm right. Because guess what? When I'm right, I don't get any apologies from you, all you people that say, oh, you're a conspiracy guy. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Tinfoil on your head. I don't get any apologies from you. So, yeah, I'm going to rub it in. And if you want to rub it in when I'm wrong, that's fine. That's totally fine. I get it. What's Kyle Shanahan's overall record with the 49ers? It's bad. He was 2 wins away from tying Jim Harbaugh on the Niners coaching wins list. They're going to have to wait to get those. Still under 500 as a head coach. I think it's 42 and 46. Still under 500. So it's going to start to turn now. You're going to see a different tone from the media. You're going to see a different coverage. You're going to see a different tone from the national media and the local media. And I'm fascinated now to see what else 49ers players say this week. That Brandon Ayuk quote is really, really telling to me. We're going to start to see stuff start to leak out. You know, everybody says, oh, the 49ers don't leak. The 49ers don't leak. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And we know a lot of those leaks come from Jed. When times get bad, Jed loves to talk to the national media. You're going to start to see some stuff this week. Just keep your eyes and ears open. And then when I see it, I will flag it for you and tell you about it. It is going to start to get rough, especially if they lose to the Rams next week, especially if they lose to the Rams. Then it's going to get dark. Then it's going to get really, really dark because they'll be 3-5. They'll be going into a bye. It's going to get really bad if they lose to the Rams next week. This was a bad one today. This was just an embarrassing, bad loss. And I don't really have anything else to say about it, frankly. I'm disgusted. I'm frustrated. I'm right there with you because I keep sitting there telling people how good the 49ers are, and they keep telling the world that they're not. Awful. Let me just take one more quick scan to make sure there's not anything else I missed in terms of post-game quotes. I don't think so. Putrid. And I don't want to hear anybody talking about, oh, we got a bad taste in our mouth, or we want to see them again, or hope we get another shot. Or no. Nope. I don't want to see any of that. Just shut up. That's what I want to see. Shut up and go to work. How about that? Anonymous user on the YouTube page. 2019 was definitely the ceiling. Maybe. Corey, you didn't know what Ayuk said. Brandon Ayuk said, basically, they have too many good people to only put up 23. I just put the quote on the screen. I just feel like we have too many players that can change the game to only score 23 points. Problem is, none of those play quarterback, Brandon. And they tried to get the guy that did, and he got hurt in week 2. That's really what it is. It's really what it is. So 49ers lose. It's going to be another rough week. You know, there are certain weeks that hurt more than others. This was like a spotlight game for the 49ers where they could announce, hey, we got our guys back. We're healthy. We're good. We got the quarterback that we thought was the ultimate insurance policy, right? The ultimate parachute. And we're going to go, we got this defense, and we're going to go show everybody against Patrick Mahomes at home. We're going to wear the throwback jersey. No. And they got absolutely dog walked. Absolutely embarrassed. Embarrassed. Jason Tillman watching on the Facebook page. Nick Bosa ain't going to sign long-term for this garbage. He might not. You know, we all kind of assume that they're going to get it done. Maybe he looks around and says, screw this. I'm out. That easily could happen. That very easily could happen. And he's watched his brother Joey sign with the Chargers and not win diddly poo. Okay? So we don't know. All of that goes into the pot when you're deciding whether or not you're going to re-sign. So all part of it. Man, this sucks, man. And now we got a Monday show with Vish Kumar, and we'll be live on YouTube tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, breaking it all down. I got to go over it again. Man, there are some times when this job is not fun. Last comment before we go. Glass half full guy. How much rope do we keep giving Kyle Shanahan? I kind of wonder if Kyle's the right coach. It's all fair now. It is all fair to ask because we keep seeing these results. The results don't change. And you only get so much. And to be honest, Kyle Shanahan has gotten more than most because he's made some playoff runs. But at some point, you know, regular season is a lot longer than the playoffs. One sample size is a lot bigger than the other. Maybe the playoffs were more luck than anything else. And the regular season is who he is. I'm not quite there yet, but man, I'm getting there fast. I got to tell you, because I can't take losing like this anymore. I can't take being a joke. And that's what the 49ers were today. A joke. That's going to do it for this edition of the show. Please rate, review, and follow the Niners Nation Podcast Network. Again, I always say if you take the time to leave a review, we will take the time to leave it on the show. We will have a live show, 10 a.m. Pacific. We'll be live again, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, my Twitch page, which is at Stats on Fire. Apologies again for the technical issues at the start of this one. Man, bad today. It's going to take a little while to get this taste out of my mouth. I am not going to lie. Try to enjoy the rest of your night, everybody. Thanks.